Dun, 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 dun. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a big one this week. We are doing a post-Silverstone special. I've truly taken over this podcast, and I am proud to say it.
There's been a few now. What is this, like 3, 4?
This is the third, I think.
Wow.
Right, this is the Sibling Ting podcast. I am Charlie, I'm the oldest sister, and I exclusively talk about motorsports, and more exclusively talk about F1.
I'm Jesse, I'm the youngest child. I talk about football and darts, which inconveniently for me, nothing has happened with in the past 3 days. Since a years.
Years. I am Carter, I'm the middle child, and I will talk about boxing and UFC. However, I am an avid fan of F1, so I shall be talking about F1 too.
And then we've also got Ghost, who will occasionally be making some very strange noises.
He's
in the
trying to
background
bite my
every single
hand
week.
right now. He's trying to fight me.
He's involved. Right. On this podcast, before we start talking about anything related to Silverstone, we have a little saying that we love to say, do we not, boys?
We do.
You doing, do?
Are we ready?
Yep.
Yeah, bro.
3, 2, 1.
Lights out and podcast on.
I so almost had lights out.
You know what? At one point, we're going to have a podcast where we actually mess up, because we haven't messed up since we got it right the first time.
I genuinely was about to say lights out and away we go.
Lights out and away we go.
Genuinely. Right. This week was insane. We had Silverstone, and we're going to be one of the few podcasts with the exclusive to talk about something big that happened today. But technically yesterday when you guys all listen to this podcast. But let's dive in first and foremost to one of the greatest races that's happened this year. It was filled with absolute chaos. It was emotional. It was amazing. So much happened. Boys, thoughts, feelings, questions, queries.
I really enjoyed Lando winning.
Yeah.
But I really enjoyed the guy that came third, because I didn't actually know him on a deep level, but watching him so happy made me happy, so I was here for it.
Nico Hulkenberg.
No, Nico winning was amazing. Hamilton not getting it after 12 years, that's quite sad. Oscar with a bit of drama.
Yeah, a lot of drama.
And obviously
we will
Norris
dive into that big time. I feel like that's a big bit of drama to dive into.
Yeah,
I will say, as a Ferrari fan, giving up the Lewis third and the Lewis podium for Nico, I kind of can't argue.
You know what?
I kind of felt okay
I was
with
seeing
that.
someone say if Hamilton and Verstappen were up there with him, for one, the celebrations would have been better and things, and they would have proper loved it. But they said Hamilton would have probably, knowing him so long, been okay with him winning or getting a podium. He would have been fine with it.
I'm going to argue this. I'm going to start off with this argument because I've had enough of the Lando slander that I am seeing online. Also, just to be clear, for anyone who is hearing the dog, he's currently sat under the table. His tail is wagging everywhere, which is why you can hear
he's trying
jangling.
to bite my hand.
Yeah, he's manic.
Yeah.
Right, so the reason that I am going to argue the Lando slander that is happening at the minute, and it is happening bad.
Yeah.
I think the podium thing, everyone's saying, oh my god, Lando didn't actually celebrate Nico. Lando had just won his home race.
For the first time.
For the first time. He is going to be in no way thinking about it. It's his home race. He's going to be super excited. He's going to be super, buzzing. It was really exciting for him. The first thing he did when he actually said as well, they said to him, Nico's got podium, he was saying stuff on radio. So on the McLaren headset, he was saying how buzzing he was for Nico on the headset.
Yeah.
And then also, he was the one to bring Nico's helmet in.
Yeah.
So anyone saying Lando wasn't being supportive, Lando didn't spray. Lando did spray Nico. When the camera turned, you actually see him going to spray Nico.
You actually see it on camera.
Yeah.
That there is spray on. Don't get me wrong, it's not like they'll shower him and stuff, yeah. They do get him. They do turn to each other a little bit. They just wanted everyone to shout Nico.
Yeah.
Lando didn't win his first home race. His mum's there.
Yeah.
His driving engineer there.
His dad's there. Everyone is there.
Yeah, his family's there.
The Lando stand was there.
He did spray him. He did say, congrats and stuff. Brought his helmet in. Oscar Piastri may have not.
Right, yeah. Okay. Let's just say it all for the podium's sake. You've got Lando who's just won his home race. He's absolutely buzzing. You've got Oscar who's, let's face it, being an absolute mardarse. He's in his own little world, not really celebrating in any capacity. I don't think it's unfair to say that I think Nico still celebrated, and Nico celebrated in his own way.
Yeah.
In the same way that people can say, oh, well, Lando didn't celebrate Nico right. Well, no one was celebrating Lando in the same way.
Yeah.
No one was pouring champagne over Lando for winning his home race.
Yeah.
So I've had
Piastri wasn't doing it. He just had
of the Lando slander.
He just had his engineer. They kind of went for each other. That's it.
Yeah.
Piastri was just Mardy, so he kind of sprayed the car.
That's the thing. Everyone, I feel like everyone guns for Lando.
Yeah.
No one ever has that same energy when it comes to Oscar. And it really winds me up because at the end of the day, Lando is one of, and everyone actually says this I don't know if you can like scroll all the way back, but when Danny was like obviously leaving and things like that, Lando put a lot of effort in, and there's pictures of him.
Yeah.
He never did it publicly. It was always personal and to their faces. And Lando spent loads of time with Danny as he was leaving track when it was like no one else cared, everyone was gone. Lando stayed behind.
Yeah.
He's underrated as a person and as a driver. I've said it before. I absolutely love it. I know who's going to be listening to this, and I know he's going to know I'm talking to him. No more Lando slander.
Yeah.
I've had enough of the Lando slander.
He can be Mardy. He can.
Yeah, but
And he has
every single driver can be.
Speaking of Mardy,
I'm going to go on to Oscar Piastri.
I was going to go to Verstappen.
Verstappen won that Mardy. I think Verstappen was actually alright this week.
And I swear he had an interview and he was there like, I'm not going to say anything, I'll get in trouble if I say anything.
No, that was Oscar. That was Oscar.
Oh, I thought that was Verstappen.
People
that was
made
Oscar.
jokes about Max accepting defeat, and he kind of just like, he didn't like go like oh no the car wasn't it was. Max actually admitted he made a few mistakes. He's very good when it rains. Max is like one of the best on track when it rains. He messed up a few times. It is what it is, and he admitted, and he said, look, the car just I didn't work with it, made wheels.
I'm amazed you're not doing a Verstappen accent.
The wheels didn't work, and I just spin off the track a couple of times. He was fine. He was.
We're very sorry to every single Dutch person.
Yeah, I'm not Dutch. I give it a go. But he was quite calm, and he kind of just admitted defeat at this point. I'm pretty sure he said in his post interview, he says, well, realistically, I'm not going for a championship anymore, because he knows it's a 2-horse race now. Yeah. It's the 2 McLaren boys, and that's it. So he's kind of admitted that now, but he can just do it as best as he can, and he made a few mistakes, and that's it. He was really good. Max was really good.
Max was all right. I think we'll move on. We're holding that little nugget of Piastri, because at the end of the day, that's going to delve quite a lot into it. But there were other things that happened. The rain was massive. This weekend, I mean, British weather has never shone better than this weekend.
Yeah.
The weather was unreal, and I think some of the strategy was incredible. I will say now, Nico, I don't know if everyone's like obviously paid attention. Obviously from radio, obviously you can always, post race, you tend to be able to now get the full radio transmissions from every other team. Nico was really, really interesting because Nico actually made most of the decisions himself. He was saying to the team, I actually think that's a bad idea, guys. I think I should stay out.
Yeah.
Or he was saying, I'm coming in, get the tyres ready. It was his decision. And I think it shows as well the amount of experience he had and understanding the different weather conditions to actually make a decision before a lot of people did. Nico's strategy is what earned him, and it was Nico's strategy. It wasn't the team's strategy, because the team was always on the radio suggesting something different, and Nico kind of went against it.
Yeah.
I think without question, Nico earned himself that podium. It was 15 years coming, without question. Like, it was 15 years of hard work, but Jesus Christ, does he deserve it? Like, that was so
19 to
good.
3rd. I mean, 5 people came out short, but even then, that would be 14th to 3rd. That's still impressive.
It was
even with
unreal.
19th to 3rd is very impressive. He did an amazing race. He did actually overtake. He did actually put the work in. The strategy was good from the team, and he did it. He deserves it. And it was just as soon as he did it, what's the teammate's name? Sorry.
Gabby.
Yes, Gabby. When you ran past Lando to just grab him and say, "Oh, well done."
So lovely.
And then when Nico got ready and stuff, and his team, he ran up and everybody grabbed, and everyone's trying to. Oh, so nice.
I actually thought this week for celebrations, it was so lovely to see how excited everyone was for Nico.
Yeah.
How excited! And I'm going to say, Lando's mum should be classed as a national. I know she's Belgian, a national treasure.
Should we have a dame? Should we have a dame? Should we have a dame?
Again, she's Belgian. Belgian, so we actually can't. I don't think.
That's fine.
But I don't care. I think she's the sweetest woman.
Yeah.
Her love for like you can tell as well how close they are, and I thought it was the nicest thing in the world to watch.
Have you seen a clip when the national anthem was playing?
No, I haven't.
When the national anthem was playing, see Lando's like got his head up and his eyes shut, yeah. And it literally as soon as it starts goes. So they start singing, right? And
what is that?
the editing's going to be brilliant on this, by the way. It's going to be amazing. So they start singing, right? And out of nowhere, literally as a second or third word happens, you just hear Lando's mum go, "I love you."
Oh.
And Lando, because he's got his head up, he kind of chuckles and he looks down and waves at his mum. It's one of the sweetest things ever.
They are, honestly, Lando's mum this week. Genuinely, you have my heart. I think he's the most adorable human being in the world. I hope you become a national treasure. Everything. You're just lovely. Anyway. Other things obviously happened, yeah. So we've obviously got strategy played a massive part this week, and I hate to say it, and I hate to compliment the arse, but Lando Stroll actually had decent strategy. He actually came fourth
when he
to a
came
degree.
Fourth, it really annoyed me. But
and then obviously dropped down to 7th. But for saying you are in a car that doesn't even deserve to get points,
yeah,
to then be arsey over the radio, and I know that I slander the man every single week, but I do because at this point I question why are you in a sport when you clearly don't want to be in it. But he was literally on radio saying, yeah, well, great for the points, but let's face it, I'm driving a piece of, car. And he was absolutely vile. And I just remember thinking, Jesus Christ, you've won points. You are in a car that doesn't even deserve to be up there if you're not being driven by Alonso. So you just wind your neck in, be a bit more appreciative when, let's face it, you want a driver that deserves podiums. And let's face it, next year you're probably going to get podiums because you've got Adrian Newey's car. Anyway,
he ain't getting podiums. He's not good enough even with Adrian Newey.
I need to let it go because it's...
It was funny when he said in his post-race interview, he was like, yeah, it wasn't my best performance. Yeah, it was, Lance. It's literally your best performance. This year, anyway, yeah. But it's your actually best performance. I don't know what are you on about?
Because he's miserable. And he doesn't want to be in the sport. It's quite obvious he don't want to be in the sport, but for some reason he's staying. So, but I will give credit where credit is due. Strategy-wise, brilliant. Again, really, really good. There was quite a few who did that. Pierre Gasly, again, brilliant strategy. Managed to really secrete himself into an area and just did not move. Unfortunately, have to mention it, they really messed up with shock horror. Ferrari screwed up massively with strategy. They started off Charles, obviously, on an intermediate and immediately brought him in to go on to slicks. Worst decision. Unfortunately, he wasn't the only one who kind of fell for it. Quite a few of them did.
Hey, Charlie, you are aware, got to point this out, you are aware that it wasn't a mess up. Ferrari deliberately just did that to Charles Leclerc. Well,
Ferrari just do that anyway. I think Ferrari do Ferrari things at every given moment. A few people did do that though, and I know that it was sort of like one of the common strategies that a few of the teams did go early on. I think at the end of the day, though, that does come again. Certain people having that experience. Some drivers obviously would have denied it. Some drivers would have said follow the team orders. But I do think that was unfortunately a Ferrari move. Typical Ferrari. Not even shocked. Not even sad. Just going to go. Fair enough. I already said last week as well who I wanted to win. I knew I wanted it to be Lando, so I'm all right with this fact. Do you know this is going to be all over? You fighting the dog.
I'm not fighting the dog. He's fighting me.
Anyway. We move on, and then we're going to have a little bit of a debate. Jesse, it's time. You can now move into the conversation because you're going to understand this bit. We have Australians' biggest mardos, Oscar Piastri. Now, we're going to talk about the incident.
I wasn't even know. I thought it was...
Basically, when you actually watch so obviously safety car was out, I want to say for most of the race, at least 60% the safety car was there. I'm being very dramatic there, but it was out for quite a lot, probably about 40 to be fair, but it was out for quite a considerable amount of the race. The safety car was out, and Oscar, obviously he was leading the race. Now, you always want to keep quite close to the safety car, but obviously not too close. You are really, as much as the safety car is in charge of the pack, you are technically in charge of really collecting that pack up. Some drivers like to keep them really close, some drivers like to keep them really far apart. It depends on, as the first driver, you've kind of got that control.
But you can't overtake.
You can't overtake during a safety car, and also you have to be within 10 car lengths of the safety car as well. You can't go any further. And obviously you can't do any excessive braking. That's a big one. The excessive braking is obviously a big one. Now in rain, as you can imagine, you've got that spray at the back. I don't know if you've seen it. All you can see really is that faint red light when the brakes come on. So you've not really got a lot of vision. So Piastri was going around the final corner. Safety car had come in. This benchmark this year has been 30 psi breakage from George Russell in Canada. It was quite a good braking. It's perfect, to be fair. It was really good. And then obviously that's where it starts. You've got to remember as well, you've got to brake to a degree when the safety car comes in, because as soon as that safety car comes in, until it's green flag,
not brake.
Until it's green flag, as soon as that safety car comes in and it goes green flag, we're racing again. But until that moment, you've got to remember that the rest of the pack are seeing the safety car go, but they're still waiting for you. They're waiting on you to sort of turn it, and then as soon as it goes, we're racing again. Oscar Piastri, and as I said, the benchmark this year for braking was 30 psi, so it's quite quick, but it's still a decent amount. And obviously it goes from, I want to say, do you know what, I'm not even going to make up numbers because I'm fairly certain the maths is wrong in my head. Anyway, Oscar Piastri went 60 psi, so double what George Russell did. So that, as you can imagine, is really fast braking, really fast, really hard. You've got a lot of excessive spray coming off the back of that car. So most of those cars are only going to see the red lights when they're on him. That's what happened with Verstappen. Verstappen actually overtook Piastri safely because he had to overtake him in that moment, because otherwise he'd crash.
In my opinion, through pure skill.
Absolutely.
Just because
Verstappen did really well there.
Imagine a car length here. You've got Piastri's car and then a car length behind that. That's Verstappen until he actually saw. Yeah. And bear in mind, they're going at decent speed, so he literally saw the lights and then through pure skill was just able to quickly skirt out of the way and just get it without crashing.
Yeah.
And obviously then Norris would have seen, and everyone else kind of realised to slow.
And when you actually see on the cameras, everyone sort of then brakes quite fast, because obviously everyone sort of realises they're braking quickly. Yeah. 60 psi is unreal. There was no need to go that fast. There was no need to go that hard. Verstappen obviously then is immediately complaining on which I 100% understand. 100% was correct. There was no need for him to brake that hard. The issue as well, the further issue with it is when you are on the wet tyres. The wet tyres are incredibly cold. That's the point. They obviously, you don't want him to stick too much. Obviously, you want him to stick. You don't want him to stick. Do you know what I mean? You're really going to struggle with getting them, and obviously they take a lot longer to warm up. The issue is as well with that is when they're at a warm temperature and they're a decent temperature, you don't want them to cool down too fast. Piastri doing this made Verstappen's tyres quite quickly cool down, because all of a sudden he had to brake really, really quickly to match with Piastri, to let Piastri pass. Then all of a sudden, as soon as they turned that corner, Verstappen's tyres were cold, absolutely cold. That's all of a sudden what's caused him to spin. That's where all of a sudden he's lost it. And then after that, obviously, I won't lie. After that, it was Verstappen had a few moments where he just let slip. That's obviously hitting the track in the wrong places, things like that. Verstappen, obviously, in that moment, probably flung off, which is understandable. At the end of the day, you're a top-performing athlete who is probably going to get flung off, but that's the kind of thing. Yeah. Either way, though, Piastri has done this before as well. It's not the first time he's done this. He did this in, I want to say, Australia. He did the same thing to Verstappen, and it worked at that point. It did cool down Verstappen's tyres, however, he also didn't do it in a way that would class it as an illegal move. He didn't do it to put anyone else in jeopardy. It was a fair play, and he actually did it quite well. Verstappen's tyres cooled down. Piastri managed to take over very, very easily. Done and dusted. I don't know whether or not that was the same play he was going for here and he misjudged how fast he broke. I don't know. Yeah. Whether or not he went for a lighter brake and he just accidentally went too hard, I don't know. Either way, though, he's broke really, really fast. Obviously, it caused Verstappen's tyres go. Verstappen's then no longer a threat, however, Lando is. Lando's then kept on his, and I'm going to say it, he really did keep on his arse. He was within the 10 second, at times he was only a second behind him. So anyone who wants to come for Lando, again, come for me. I will protect that man. Lando literally was on his arse. So he was easily faster than Piastri. He was easily going to overtake him at some point when the 10 seconds was delivered. 10 seconds, is it harsh? Maybe a little harsh. Kind of deserved. I don't think in that moment you can argue a penalty. At the end of the day, you've been given that penalty because you did wrong. You know, whether or not it was 5 seconds or 10 seconds, you put someone else at jeopardy. At the end of the day, it did screw up Verstappen's race. Like, Verstappen after
I also think is what happens if the worst did happen.
Yeah, what happened if people did crash?
We're nearly swollen. Stuff like that can cause stuff to... Yeah.
Just going to throw out for Verstappen, he only came 5th. Bear in mind all that. We forget sometimes how good and talented this guy is at driving. He still only came 5th. Cold tyres, his car's not as good. All of this mixed it. 5th is still incredibly impressive.
Yeah, really impressive. But it's still obviously Verstappen, let's face it, realistically, had it not screwed his race up as much as it did, would have been with Hulkenberg, I imagine. Hulkenberg wouldn't have been on that podium.
Yeah.
So, you know, Verstappen's loss likely is Hulkenberg's win. But either way, it was quite bad.
He'd also be fine with it, by the way.
Yeah, he would.
Hamilton and Verstappen would be like, I understand.
Yeah, it's Nico, fair play. But yeah, so obviously that was quite a big thing. And then I think, I personally agree with 10 seconds. I know that's controversial. A lot of people think it should have been 5. I personally don't disagree with getting 10. I've seen lighter punishments be given for harsher things. And I think at the end of the day, the FIA play by their own rules. They don't always have consistency, which is annoying. And 100% they should have more consistency.
Imagine it's because Piastri doesn't do a whole bunch of stuff. If Max did this, 20 seconds?
I think I don't disagree with it being 10 seconds. I think it's a harsh-ish penalty, but I don't disagree with it being 10 seconds. I think fair play. At the end of the day, like, you are going to have that penalty no matter what. So I don't disagree with it. I think it gave Norris obviously the opportunity. I don't necessarily think that was the thing that got Norris to win. I think personally Norris was going to overtake no matter what. He was faster in that McLaren than Piastri was. When Piastri had that gap at the start, 100% he was faster than Lando.
Yeah.
As soon as I think it was the second safety car came out, like, Norris was really catching up and he was really quick at that point. I don't think anyone was going to take it from him. I think without question he would have overtaken Piastri and that would have been it. So I don't personally see a world in which Norris wasn't going to win that race.
It could have gone probably either, but I think Norris, with it being home race, a home crowd, he knows the track better.
Yeah.
He was performing a bit better. He probably would have taken it eventually. You know, there wasn't enough laps for it to say, like, oh, definitely couldn't have. You definitely could have. There was enough laps to say he could have done it smoothly. Probably would have happened. And he knows the wet better. He obviously can drive in the wet better.
He's brilliant. He made no mistakes. Yeah. Norris made no mistakes this weekend. He drove perfectly. Without question, perfectly. A couple of times where it spun out slightly, that's the rain though. I'm not even going to argue that. He absolutely drove insane. It was incredible. Yeah. So there was that, and then obviously Piastri then, a few laps later, this is just after he'd put on new tyres, he turned around and he said it as he went off track, making a further mistake. I'll let it go. I won't. I'll let it go. But he then said over radio, guys, if we agree that this is an unfair penalty, why don't we just switch back?
I know, I was a bit
and that really wound me up, because at the end of the day, that's you asking to be gifted the win. No, you've lost that right by making a mistake. You've been given a penalty because you've done something wrong. You've been penalised. I don't know why I'm saying penalty. Is that
penalised?
Penalised. That's why I'm going wrong, isn't it?
Penaltied.
Yeah, penaltied. You've been penaltied or penalised because you've done something wrong. It's not Lando's fault. You messed up. You've done 60 psi. Whether you disagree with how long the penalty was, penalised. You know what I mean. Whether or not you disagree with it doesn't matter. You've been given it because you screwed up. Yeah. Just because it's 10 seconds rather than 5 doesn't make a difference. You can't get that swap in just because you feel like, well, I should have been given 5. So actually, guys, maybe we should swap over because we all agree it's wrong. No. Like, that's so unfair. And I don't think anyone would have... Like, I was livid when he asked that over the radio. I've never been angry at it.
It was weird. It was a bit stupid because, like, with it being a home race, you think you wouldn't do that, but...
Lando did win his.
Yeah, that's
again,
what I'm thinking.
For a mistake that Oscar made.
Yeah, I think that might be a thing. Is that, like, he lost his home race. He came 8th or 9th or something. It was his own fault. And I think maybe he's mad that Lando got his own races win as well. And it is what it is.
I think it's going to be interesting to see how the McLaren boys start winning that. But obviously, post-race... he very, very clearly was angry. There's no ifs or buts. In the cool-down room, he was a bit snippy. I'm going to say as well, I understand it, you're an elite driver, you are a very high, sportsman, things like that. Losing anything is obviously going to be annoying to you, you're going to be frustrated. But in a sense, I almost feel, annoyed because I feel like he sucked the energy out of the room. It felt like Lando's first home win was sucked out. I feel like Nico's first podium was sucked out from how he was behaving. He was a bit...
I know he was still happy with it. Don't get me wrong, when you're watching it, when you're looking at this outside perspective, you're thinking, you kind of ruined it a little bit. But at the same time, if you think about it, they had the time of their life.
Yeah, they had the time of their life, but I just feel like you could have been more involved. Anyway... Then we all of a sudden come to some of the post-race interviews. So the first one I'd like to mention is the fact that he tried to almost take away from Nico by saying, "Oh, you're not upset that it's just Lego trophy." And I was like, a bit arsey comment because at the end of the day, who cares? It's still a trophy.
Yeah, it's still a trophy.
How about congratulate the man for getting his first trophy? And Nico's response was absolutely 10 out of 10 parenting. 10 out of 10 parenting, because he said with his chest, "No, I love it because my daughter loves Lego as well and she can play with it too."
Yeah.
Adorable Nico, wonderful human being. Best. Do you know what? If I was to have a driver on this podcast, Nico Hulkenberg, you're the one I'm asking for. Because what a man, what a laugh, banter on point, parenting on point.
Yeah.
What a guy. And then we have the Sky interview. Now, the Sky interview, Oscar literally said, "Oh, well, I don't really want to say anything because I don't want to get in trouble."
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Why? What are you going to say? What are you going to say? What are you going to argue against when you did wrong? This is giving peak Verstappen Mardy energy but even then, I will give Verstappen credit, when he has screwed up, he to a degree will own it.
He does do it to a degree.
Not always, but to a degree. Piastri, this is the moment you were talking about, by the way, when you were saying about it wasn't Verstappen, it was Piastri. It was so Mardy.
Yeah.
Mardy. He was unbelievable. I literally was just like, I can't believe you just said that. You've been and then to sort of refuse to talk about it as well to a degree, during the interview, sort of didn't want to talk about that, but everyone's going to want to talk about it because you've then lost that race because of the one mistake you've made. Own it and say, yeah, I did make that mistake and it's on me. I should have, I shouldn't have braked so heavy. Don't know what I was thinking, misjudged it. You can say anything in that moment and instead chose to say basically nothing, which I thought was a bit stupid.
Yeah.
Anything to say, either?
To be honest, I get it as an athlete though.
Yeah.
For you're gonna be competitive.
Yeah, you are. Yeah.
But no. The thing is, you don't, especially when it's your teammate as well. It looks bad on you. I think it's going to cause competition.
I think it's going to cause massive competition.
And I'm here for it. So
I do think we are going to see a few McLaren clash outs now. I really do think so, because I think both of them now are hungry. I've sent you that TikTok as well of Crofty's voice being slightly edited to say Lando Norris champion of the world. I want Lando to win this year. 100% I want Lando to win. I'll be so happy if he does.
Yeah.
So...
I think he will. I think he'll have his win. I think Piastri's going to get it next year. I think he'll be a bit of a centre prost. But
I feel like it's going to be a bit of a centre prost situation.
But I think Norris will take this
I
year.
really want Lando to win. I genuinely like Lando. I don't care what anyone says. I love the guy. Got a lot of love for him. But yeah. So obviously that is pretty much the big dramas that have happened at Silverstone. It was an incredible race. Brilliant. Really well raced by everyone. It was amazing. It was so good to watch, and I actually can't wait for Spa now. Obviously, anyone who knows me knows Spa is my favourite track. You've got some of the best conditions. You've got some of the best corners. You've got some of the best chicanes. It's a brilliant track. I love watching Spa. So I cannot wait for Spa anyway. It's also going to technically be Lando's mum's home race. So I'd love to see Lando win again because I think that'll be sweet as anything. But we cannot finish Silverstone this week. We cannot finish an F1 special this week without mentioning some very big news that's come out today, boys. It is official. Christian Horner has been sacked from Red Bull.
I thought he said he quit.
It said Red Bull have terminated the contract, not that he's... It's sort of worded in a way that implies Red Bull terminated, not the other way around.
Yeah.
Thoughts, questions, queries?
Well, I don't know, but my mate said there is rumours and prediction that it was something to do with last year.
I don't know if it's last year. I feel like maybe there's going to be someone saying that maybe there's going to be a story breakage.
Yeah.
There's something else that's happened. Because why would you actually end it with him? Like, I don't understand that. Christian Horner, despite what anyone's, is he a great guy? Probably not. As a person, don't know him very well. As an actual team principal, though, and a CEO of a company, he literally took a team that was dog. He took something that was nothing, that was, bottom of the barrel, midfield team. And for 20 years, he's made it into something. And as much as people go, yeah, but the only glory has been Verstappen, you had Vettel, you've had other, at the end of the day, he is someone who's made extremely good decisions.
Yeah.
He's made an empire, really. There are drivers on the current grid who have everything to thank to Red Bull because it's Red Bull who brought him up. Not to even start with Carlos Sainz, who's one of the greatest drivers on that grid for, being in a midfield team at the minute. And he started off in Red Bull. Alex Albon, Red Bull. Pierre Gasly. You've got all of these who came up through the Red Bull junior ranks and things like that. And he literally, and obviously Max, but incredible as a team principal with making decisions. He's been a staunch protector of his team. He's been very much an avid arguer, and I feel like Red Bull have made a decision that makes very little sense to me, other than something must be further to it. I don't understand why you drop him. Don't get me wrong, again, do I think he probably should have been dropped last year? Yeah, I feel like that was probably when they should have dropped him.
When it actually,
When it was happening.
Yeah.
A year later sort of feels a bit to be no, we're feminist again because we've thought about it and maybe you should have been dropped last year. That's not really supporting that woman at all. You've had the chance to support her. You've actually waited over a year to then support her. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's that. I think there must be something else. I don't know what, whether or not it's a clause with Max. If they get rid of him, will they keep Max? I don't know. But I feel like there must be something else getting rid of Christian now because it doesn't make sense for last year.
There's going to be some background news and stuff we'll hear and it'll come out for sure.
Yeah, it's...
I'm going to get some scandals again, personally.
I don't know whether it's scandals, whether or not it's a background clause for Max.
Well, it's definitely something bad because there's no way you just get rid of him for no reason.
Or is it performance? They've not performed this season. Is it that?
Yeah, but he's been it for 20 years, and sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. We've had 8 championships between 2 people.
They've not lost.
They've had 6 constructors.
Yeah.
This is what it is, it's good record. It's not brilliant. It's good record. So.
When someone compared it to, let me see if I can get the stats up because it's actually a really good comparison. And when I was reading it, I was like, Jesus Christ, that is really good. Let me just get the stats up because it was actually pretty decent. Blah blah blah, talking blah blah blah, blah 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 blah. So Christian Horner's stats is Red Bull v Ferrari, wins 124 to 65 wins in Ferrari. Constructors' titles have been 6, 2 in Ferrari, 8 drivers' titles and 1 in Ferrari. This has been since 2005, so the whole time that Christian Horner's been at Red Bull. Ferrari have had 6 different team principals in that time.
Yeah.
Red Bull have had
so he's
1.
been good enough to stick through it. He's been good, and he's achieved a lot.
He has. I will say.
I'm not going to say much because I don't know what's going on.
I don't know what's going on. Yeah, I just feel like there's something more to it. It can't just be
something bad
performance. It's something. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense to me to get rid of him at the minute. And as I said, I'm not a Christian Horner fan. I don't think the world of the guy. I do think as a team principal, he's been solid.
Yeah.
And I'll give credit where credit's due. He has been solid, but which makes me think there must be something more to it.
Yeah.
So actually, guys, Silverstone was incredible.
It was very good. Very good.
Can't be.
I think you got a little bit of a boxing spicy.
Yeah, a little bit of boxing. Just before that, though, I'm going to talk something. I'm not sure if you actually know this.
Go ahead.
Do you know about Ayrton Senna's lap at Donington?
I've heard about Ayrton.
Do you not know enough?
I don't know enough, but I have heard that Senna did a lap.
I just found
because obviously Donington was quite popular years and years ago.
I found out a bit about this last week, and I thought, doing a bit of research.
Not long Vettel drove at Donington.
Yeah, a few of them would have, yeah.
I think he has.
It wasn't long ago that it stopped, but Donington was the lap where Ayrton Senna's Lap of the Gods was.
Was it?
Lap of the Gods. That's Donington Park.
I didn't know that.
So, guys, Donington Park is our local. It's just down the road from us, not far, and it's Formula One use it quite often. It's quite big, quite famous. Ayrton Senna
Used to.
The best lap of all of F1 history is known as the Lap of the Gods. It was where Ayrton Senna, the first lap of the race, he was 5th, and he overtook, in order, Carl Wenzlinger, which I'm not sure who is, but apparently he's pretty good.
Carl Wenzlinger was, really impressive.
Damon Hill, Alain Prost, then Michael Schumacher, all in
really
one
upset with how
lap.
you pronounced Alain Prost's name.
Alain Prost. Yeah, Alain Prost. I've always said Alain Prost. But Alain Prost. Either way, he went from 5th to 1st. He overtook them 4 drivers, which were all 4 of the best in history. He took them all in the first lap to lead the race, and then he also has
so
the lap record at Donington Park in that race.
Embarrassed I didn't know that was Donny.
Yeah, that was Donington Park, Lap of the Gods. You got the track record as well.
So I know the Lap of the Gods. I've seen it, but I never realised it was Donny.
Donington Park.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's embarrassing.
but I thought I'd drop that fact. And also for the boxing, we will be doing a boxing special next week, because we have next weekend on Saturday we will have Alexander Usyk versus Daniel Dubois, which is going to be a big one. So we thought we'd do a bit of a special, talk about old, talk about new, have a bit of a discussion about boxing and do predictions for that.
This won't just be any special. This will be a Dubois special.
Dubois. But this Friday coming up, will be Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor, right, number 3.
That has been publicised on Netflix all week.
All week. I every time I go on Netflix, it just pops up, and I'm like, I'm a fan of boxing, but I don't want to watch it right now. But that will be an incredible fight, and I want to watch the undercards. I want to watch the main. I will probably be at the pub to go watch it.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah.
Shocker.
So that is it for us this week, guys.
Yeah.
We do hope you enjoyed.
We do.
And we do hope that you're enjoying these F1 specials, because we like them, and they'll probably carry on. We'll probably carry on.
Me and Cart love talking about F1. I love talking about F1. It's the only thing I want to talk about.
Sad thing is, we haven't got one for a few weeks.
I know.
We haven't got one. We've got
but
boxing.
The next one is my absolute favourite.
It is,
track,
yeah. So we must
I'm
have
very, very excited.
Have a special for it.
Yeah, I love Spa. It's my favourite track by far.
Spa.
But guys, we really hope you enjoyed. Please go and follow us on media. And Jesse, would you like to give your...
Yeah, go on, and I've got this. Make sure when you're in shower, shampoo and condition.
Very special.
Also use some body washes. Yeah.
You know what? Today we've got something to say, both of us, don't we?
Oh, we both dyed our
Dye your hair, yeah. Make it pretty.
What else is the eat your veg?
Eat your vegetables.
Stay hydrated.
Yeah.
Wear
Sun cream.
Yeah.
Balanced diet.
Balanced diet.
Enjoy
free
yourself
meals,
as well.
3 meals a day. Make sure they're healthy. Make sure you eat breakfast as well. Most important.
Skincare. So important.
Very good.
So important.
What else we got? Working
Drive
out.
safely.
Yeah, drive safely. Got to drive on safely.
Yeah.
And exercise. Always good for you.
Yeah, really good. Yeah.
See the family. Always spend time with the family.
Occasionally play frisbee. Why not?
Yeah, you could go for it. Why not?
Frisbee. I don't play frisbee.
Swim if you can.
Yeah.
I can't.
Make sure the woman walks in first for a door.
Damn straight.
Yeah.
On the actual path, make sure the woman goes on the inside, not near the car. Respect, guys. Respect.
And the main one, if you go into a pub and they're charging over £5 for a pint of dark fruit carling, walk out.
Yeah, that's
really good. Yeah.
And
I think we'll leave it at that.
that's
We'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, guys, and until next time, adios.
Love you all.
Bye. Enjoy frisbee.